music just gets you going.
See, you're all like peppy and excited, and then I get excited. So I look forward to melody dancing during the countdown.
I was like, I can't do this. I'm so tired. Thank you for tuning in. If you're tuning in, it's 6:00 in the morning, Alaska time. And I know that's not really early for a lot of people, but it is for me. And that's why I'm tired.
Early, girl.
Yeah. But that music really does get me dancing. I just feel it in my bones. Like, it's so good.
Yes. Well,
how are you doing?
Here, and I've been up for a few hours and took a drive around town with my friend, drinking coffee already. So I'm doing.
I know you get up like at 3:00 in the morning.
Not
earlier.
Today I slept in until 6. I actually slept pretty good.
Great. That's awesome. You look great.
We get up every day at 3 and then we take the weekends off.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's great. Okay. So I want to give a shout out to Asti. You know Asti, right?
Oh yeah. I've presented there a couple of times.
Oh my gosh. This is the ISTE of Asti. Wait.
The ISTE affiliate for Alaska. And they're so lovely because they have their conference in February, because that's when you want to go to Alaska. It's actually when I do want to go to Alaska, since I'm a California girl, or I was, and to have I would like to see some snow, because you don't see that in California, so it's nice. I'm going to tell my Asti story. So this is not really an Asti story, but I was at Asti. So I booked the room at the Marriott, because I'm always going to stay in a Marriott, even though they were giving me a room down at the Captain Cook where the conference is. And so, but I'm like, no, I always stay at a Marriott. So as I'm pulling up in the Uber to the Marriott, I noticed that I can see the Captain Cook Hotel sign. And I'm like, oh, cool. I can just walk there. So I just asked the woman at the desk, I just want to make sure that my depth perception is good here. It's right there, right? I can walk. She's like, oh, no. We take a taxi to go across the street. I'll order you a taxi. I'm like, are you sure? Because it looks like it's literally right there. And she's like, no, we're going to get you a taxi. And I get it on the Google Maps. I'm like, it's 3 blocks. And she's insisting. I'm like, well, I'll do an Uber. I'm not going to do a taxi anyway. And so then the next morning, I got my coffee in one hand, no gloves. And, I got a big coat on. And I brayed 3 blocks to walk down there. And I'll just tell you what, it wasn't that big of a deal. And I don't understand how this California girl is hardier than this woman who lives in Alaska. I did grow up in Alaska, though.
Are you making fun of me right now?
No, I'm making fun of the girl at the front desk of the
Marriott. Okay. Well, you didn't regret not wearing gloves? That seems like that might be a regret.
My coffee.
Oh, I don't know. I've not worn gloves from the mailbox to the door, and I thought I was going to die. I thought my fingers were going to fall off like glass. True story. -15 degrees. That's what it feels like. And we have Mr. C. He says it's 11 o'clock in Nova Scotia, Canada. That reminds me, I just finished the last season of Anne with an E, and it was based in that part of Canada, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island. And do you watch Netflix at all, Alice?
I don't know the password. My daughter does.
Oh my gosh. When I finish a Netflix series, I feel like I've just broke up with somebody. It hurts my heart. I can't. Yes.
Worse is when it's the end of the season and there just aren't going to be anymore.
That's
the show.
That's Anne with a C or Anne with an E. I need to keep drinking my coffee. They're not going to make any more.
I'll get up tomorrow.
Mm. Yeah. Well, we have a fantastic guest today. Do you want me to bring her up?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm trying to figure. This is really hard when I'm not awake. This is really hard to navigate the stream. All right, here we go. Sorry, I didn't. Oh, you did it.
Bring me up. I was going to try to elevate her up, but I didn't get down in time.
I forget that Alice can do everything I can. That's awesome.
I can't.
You know what? You should have done. You should have brought her up and I did the banner. But anyway, good morning, Amanda Fox. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing quite well next to my cozy fire. As you talk about mittens or no mittens, I'm a just don't go outside girl and sit by the fire. So
same way.
Cheers. Yeah. So I'm from Georgia and I've relocated to Kentucky, and the cold I'm just allergic to it. That's what it is. When we were house hunting here, my husband, he'd send me these pictures of homes, and some of them didn't have snow and some of them did. And he sent me a home that was covered in snow. I'd be like, not that one. And he's like, you realize that this home was they just took pictures of it in the spring, right? And this one was taken in winter, but it shows at both houses. I was like, so.
Not that one.
Yeah, not that one. The cold.
There's no snow here in Kansas right now. It's all melted, although it's 30 degrees outside, it says so.
Oh, it's, you know what is crazy? It was like 36 yesterday, and in Alaska, that's really warm. And it's been in the upper 30s above freezing for a few days in a row. So it's like breakup. And Alice, you know what breakup is, right?
No.
Okay. It's 30 right now. The high is 32. So it's going to continue. So breakup is when it happens in late March. Yeah. March, because April there's still usually snow on the ground, but it's when it starts getting a little bit warmer and all the ice and snow start breaking up on the ground, and so then all the water is rushing, all the roads get clear. But right now it's like the roads are like, it's just like breakup, like everything's melting, which I just feel like it's not a good thing to happen too early.
It's not a good thing because it's going to freeze again, and then it's just ice. Now
and that has happened because it freezes at night, but that has happened. But someone said it's going to be a warmer summer. Now, I love that, except that there's no AC in our house. But other than that, like, I want a warmer summer because I feel like it got 80 degrees a few times last summer. 80 degrees, y'all. Can you imagine that?
The heat wave, I seem to remember. I'm like, what do you need air conditioning for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I keep my thermostat on 80 degrees. So when I said allergic to cold, I really was not joking.
You are the truth.
And I have a space heater right here.
I don't like the cold, but I'll get used to this. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll just leave. We'll see.
Come move in with me.
No, I'm not moving back to Midwest. But maybe you'll turn into a cheese head. So what do you have on your mug, Amanda?
Oh, my mug is Meta Ink Publishing.
Oh my!
Meta Ink is my publishing company that the wonderful COVID-19 allowed me to actually get my rear end gear and start with a slowdown of life. So so we publish books beyond print. We focus on kids' books, and all the books have some sort of augmented reality content to them. So the first Meta Ink book will launch it'll be printed in April.
Ooh.
I'm excited. We've already signed our second, and we're already writing and working on our third.
Wow, that is amazing. What is the first book? I feel like I know it. Is it
First book? It's what is it? Marker Town. So if you've been on my my social media, or Melody's, or Alice, who's kindly been sharing the word. Yes, Marker Town is the first Meta Ink book, and it launches. It's out in Kickstarter now, and we're at 60% of our goal with 13 days left. So, yay!
Yay! I'm gonna put that in the comments. Or are you already doing that, Alice?
Oh, I was looking up things that she was saying.
Okay. Okay, so Graham is coming. Good morning from Detroit, 25 degrees and sunny. Well, at least you have sounds like you have a good outlook on life, Graham.
It's sunny here, but it's still 23 degrees. So it's like a lie outside. That's what I see it. It's like, no, I'm not going out there.
I completely understand. So if you want to look up Amanda's Kickstarter, it's bit.ly/markertown. So I hope you'll look at that up. That's so cool. 13 days and it's 60% funded. It was almost like at 50% in the first week. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, the first week we had great momentum. It's plateaued a little bit, which a lot of projects do. But I hope to rally in the last couple weeks and reach the 100% goal. So, yeah. And if anyone wonders, Kickstarter is not like GoFundMe. It's pre-sales, so you buy a copy of the book in advance, and there are different reward tiers to get the community involved. You could have a video made where one of the characters from the book addresses your kid. There's a Markertown High Five where you purchase 5 copies. There's an educator package to where when you purchase 2 copies of the book, it's like $50. You also get the digital download of the activity book and a virtual reading for your class. So
Wow, that is so cool. I'm so excited. I got one of the packages.
You did. Yeah, there's a custom marker design. So Melody gets her very own custom marker town drawn marker. I'm still figuring out
Oh, wow.
exactly I'm going to portray.
I feel like that's like
maybe.
a great name, Miss Melody, like Miss Cherry.
Miss Melody. Yes.
Yeah.
So you get to tell me the type of marker you are. Are you a Sharpie? Are you a
No,
permanent marker? Are
I'm
you
not a Sharpie unless I have like a whole thing of coffee. And right now I'm not there.
so you're like not so sharp.
I would love to be a Motley marker. Motley Melody.
Melody. Yeah.
I love these comments. Miss Melody gets her own marker. Yes. I'm going to be I'm going to be part of the Motley crew. And the Motley crew are, because your story, it's beautiful. I've read it. The Motley crew is the markers that don't have a matching. This is not Motley. I would like to be an expo. You can make me an expo marker. The Motley crew would have a different lid.
Trademarked. We can say.
No trademark. But if you have anything similar to this. So this is not Motley. If it had like a red cap on it, it would be Motley.
Yeah. I did summer school one year, and my first clue should have been this kid was real quiet. And this kid had spent a tedious amount of time swapping the wrapper off of a dry erase marker with a permanent marker. And then when I went up to the whiteboard, I did notice that the cap did not quite fit on the marker, and I still wrote on the board with it anyway. And I didn't give this kid any satisfaction. I didn't make as I tried to erase it and it wouldn't erase. I did write on the whiteboard with a permanent marker, but then I just scribbled over it with an expo marker, wiped it away, and kept going. So there was a big fat waste of time.
Wait a minute. If you take an expo and write over a permanent, the permanent will come off too?
Yep. So someone accidentally writes on your whiteboard with a permanent marker, and I'm not talking about smart boards. Then you on it with a expo marker, it should lift up the permanent marker.
Wow, that is so cool. And actually, like, that's a great tip. And I heard you can like spray hairspray, and that will help too to take it off. But I like yours even better. Ooh, cool mug. And Alice, what is your mug?
Ooh, I have a Starbucks collection. So this is my London mug.
Oh, ooh.
London scenery here with the red phone booth and the London Eye and Big Ben's in there somewhere. There it is.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
The only problem is that this is actually a very big mug, and I have this Mickey Mouse coffee cup warmer. If you can see the Mickey Mouse button on there, see it? And it's a little, my mug's a little too big for the warmer.
London isn't the place to
Christmas. Sorry.
What's happening in London? I haven't watched the news for it yesterday. Is something bad happening in London, or is it just cold?
Is it just the Ravens?
What?
No.
Look, kids, Big Ben.
The other day.
Oh my God, but coffee is safe still. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, and I think this should be something that we do every coffee time is have a different mug. If you're watching and you want us to wear your mug, except we don't wear them, we drink from them. I'll give you my address. I want new mugs. This is so cool.
Yeah, I love it. In all of my bios, I have like an uncanny number of mugs. Like I have my nerdy t-shirts and my coffee mug collection. That's one of the things I'm known for, at least in my school building. So,
right. Yes, I've actually given you a mug. I gave you a mug that I earned, and I gave it to you at ISTE. Do you remember that?
You did, my book creator mug. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Alice says, life tip. If you have that's good. That's good.
So when I started writing Marker Town, I actually bought every marker that there was. And I bought them all. And I had them come. I had Mr. Scent. I had the scented Crayola markers. I bought all the different types of Crayola markers, the glitter markers, permanent markers, dry erase markers. It was literally Marker Town in my house. And I did it because I wanted to do all my preliminary drawings in the marker that I was portraying. And part of my process for that is I draw the preliminary sketch and I scan it in to keep the integrity of the actual marker lines for the marker, so it transferred into the digital art. I still have the original Mrs. Cherry, who also, not only does she not have a smell anymore, but she doesn't write either. She's just done. So, but just a little fun fact about Markertown. All of the sketches in the book started on paper with the marker that page is about.
Wow. Yes, that's really cool. And if you want to share, we can look at anything if you want to share a screen. Melissa, yes. Yes. Thank you, Alice. She says I'm a trooper. Actually, I get up at 5 a.m. and then hit the snooze a few times. And then I forget to put makeup on. I'm like, oh, I'll do my hair, but I won't do my makeup. But then I regret not doing makeup.
No one thinks about you but you. So
right.
Makeup, don't wear makeup. This is the first time I've worn makeup, and I can't even remember the last time.
You look great. Hey, Amanda, do you want to show us anything? Because if you do, just share your screen and we can look at it.
I was actually looking through, and I was going to pull up the Markertown AR video to kind of show what Markertown looks like. So we partnered with Quiver, Quiver Vision. They're a New Zealand company, and they're just phenomenal. And they're actually in the process right now of creating a hype page. So the cover of the book, and in the next couple days, we'll have a coloring page that comes with it. So if you download
that's so cool.
Completely free, but it's the cover, and it's Not So Sharp on the front, who is our permanent fixture and Castaway.
The hero of the story.
He's one of the big characters of the story, yeah. So when you color him, he's going to pop up in 3D, and he's actually going to deliver a message of Markertown. But let me
that is so cool.
I'm very excited.
That's what I like. That's what I like about you and Alice and Amanda, ladies. Like, you guys have like this plethora of knowledge how to do crazy things that are amazing. Like, I just can't get over it. So I want to know, tell us about your creative processes, both of you. Like, once you get on an idea, like, what do you do? Like, how do you turn it into something that's real? I just think that's fascinating.
Alice, do you want to start?
Hold on. I was responding to someone in the chat. She wants to know how I missed the question. You want to know how we get started with being creative or just doing stuff? I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and just do stuff. I'm just going to make things. You just have to decide that's what you want to do and prioritize it. It's no magic.
Exactly. And I'm the opposite side of that. I don't go to bed early. I stay up till 3 in the morning, but then I still get up at like 6:30.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's opposite schedules. So don't shame your night owls. They're being creative too. And the night owls and the early birds, we both get the worms as long as you're putting in the effort. Yeah. Yeah.
We bust our butts. That would be the key, Melody. You want to
What do you do with your butts?
We bust them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I can tell. Well, here's the thing, and I know you guys are like, oh, it's not magic and all that stuff, but here's the thing. Like, not everybody can say, oh, I have this idea, and then put it into something real that other people can use. So that's why it's fascinating. And sure, we all bust our butts. I mean, so, maybe you bust your butts more than others, I would say, because I know both of your work habits. But it's more than just busting your butts. Like, you have a wild imagination, I think.
I think that's something you practice, though. Can I quote Dave Burgess? It's creativity is something that you practice. I'm not sure if that's the exact quote, maybe a paraphrase, but if you get the book Teach Like a Pirate, one of the lines that Dave will say is, people say like, oh, but I'm not creative. You are. Of course you are. Of course you are.
And that goes back to EdTech Rabbi.
You do as a matter of practice, right? That you decide to do it and you start off badly and you get better at it, like every other skill in life.
Yeah. So EdTech Rabbi says creativity is a mindset, not an art set. That quote has stuck with me like so hard, and I tell my students that. And then there's a video that I show my kids. It's by Ira Glass, and it's on being creative, and it's this beautiful typography video. And essentially, he says that you're going to start, your idea of what's great is here. And in order to get here, you have to start here. You have to put in the work. You have to do the work. You have to go from here to here and make massive volumes of crap. Like,
Yeah.
Massive volumes of crap. That's
I've
what
been through 25 versions of my book, 25 different edited versions over the course of the last year. And before that, 2 years prior is when I came up with the idea for the book. My first sketches were done on a plane on my iPhone. And it's just staying at it, keeping revisiting it and reworking it, and just not stopping. Taking constructive feedback, not holding on to pieces.
constructive feedback.
Oh, there were pieces that I wrote in this book that I thought were just I loved. Like there's this one part of speaking of winter and the cold outside, but there's this part where the sun helps us appreciate the moon, and the cold of December helps us appreciate June. And I was going on the stanza that elaborated how we can highlight each other. So it follows when Miss Orange on Blue meets Glitter, and she's lost her cap, and she's all upset. She's lost her sense of value and purpose. Mm-hmm. And Miss Orange on Blue comes along and is like, "Stop! You have so much value. You have so much purpose. Stop thinking that this is what you're supposed to be, and this is what you're supposed to do, and become who you're meant to be." So I think, yeah. So I think just if we let go of that sense of what we're supposed to do, and we just kind of let it happen, but we put in the time and the work. That's kind of my and don't be afraid to walk through doors that open.
Don't be afraid to. I'm sorry. What?
Don't be afraid to walk through doors that open.
I thought you said don't be afraid to lock the doors that open. And I'm just
no. But we don't.
That makes no sense to my mind right now.
Let's open that curiosity door. Stranger Things quote for you right there.
I love Stranger Things.
So is it okay if I play my?
Yeah. Tell me. I put it up there. Yeah. Go ahead. Do you want me to tell me when you're ready for me to? And I'll. Okay. There we go.
See it?
I do.
Okay. So this is the AR video, and this is just a promo video we created. This is
Marker Town and augmented reality. With Marker Town, your child can become an AR artist. Powered with augmented reality technology for supervision, coloring pages in the book come to life before your very eyes. All you have to do is color, scan with the device equipped with our app, and then watch your art come to life. With Marker Town, literacy and creativity go hand in hand, and reading becomes an experience.
That's freaking amazing.
Bring Marker Town to life by supporting our Kickstarter. Click here to find out more information, or go to www.markertown.com.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Nice.
Another part of that creative process is networking. You become as good as the people you surround yourself with. And you want to try to surround yourself by people who are going to not compete for the spotlight, but like illuminate you. And then your job is to illuminate others. And through the journey, as you meet these people, and like Melody, you were just such a perfect example of this. Like I met you in 2018. Was it 18 or 19?
It was 19.
It was 19 in Philly. And since then, I've just really seen you like come into your own and step into the spotlight, and it's amazing.
Nice.
And
She practices.
Yes,
she's always on there interviewing authors and doing the StreamYards, and now she's, like I always say, she's the master at it.
Oh, you're so sweet, Dr. Sarah. Somebody I really respect. Thank you for your kind words. You're so sweet. She said that I am the queen of stream, and I just want to put that out there.
Yes, queen of stream. But then Alice, you as well. I mean,
the queen of spreadsheets.
You're the queen of spreadsheets, but you were so kind. A couple months ago, you stepped in and you took the time to talk about your process and the things that helped you get to where you are. And it means a lot for people who have been able to create like an amazing, I would call Alice an empire.
She is. Oh my gosh, I have learned so much from Alice. Oh my God, here's something about my creative process that I've learned from Alice is like I'll have blogged for the last 3 years pretty regularly. And I would like share it out one time and that was it. Like I would never share it out repeatedly, but like when you want your stuff to be seen, like you should share it out. Like it's okay. That's what you have social media. Like if you really feel like your work is worth reading, worth seeing, don't be afraid to share it out a few times. I have learned that also the feedback that you talked about, like I have grown tremendously this last year and the feedback that I have gotten from others. And Amanda, you can give pretty like real, both of you are really honest in your feedback. And it doesn't hurt my feelings ever to like hear good feedback. You know what I mean? Like I have to sit on it sometimes. Like I'm thinking, how will I address this? But I think feedback is definitely the key. I've definitely been learning that. And I do love your creative process. I don't know that I could wake up so early in the morning though.
You don't have to wake up early in the morning. Look, Amanda does it late at night. I am a morning person. I'm pretty much useless after lunch. So for me to get up early before all 5 of my kids get up and get some stuff done and then be really productive, and then I don't feel guilty about just sitting by my fireplace in the evening and I feel useless. So like last night I have all this work to do and I just can't. I'm toast. I
did too. I went to bed after you and I talked, Amanda. Like I was going to stay up for a while, but I just fell asleep. I just couldn't help it. It was just, I was gone.
It was midnight and we're both up working on our websites. It's like, oh. And we had talked about hopping on like a group chat and I'm like, are you going to hop in? And she's like, no. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of building something right now. So pinging each other and supporting each other as we're both working on our own things and knowing that, you know what, my friend Melody in Alaska is doing the same thing that I'm doing right now.
That's the funny thing is that at any time I'll probably be up. If you're up late in the world, I'll probably be up with you.
There's been many 3 a.m. phone calls.
Yes. It's not 3 a.m. for me. Okay, 7 p.m. That is so wow. I wish it. Yes, I like this hammer strand. Like, thank you for being with us today. Yes, and he said something earlier. He said, what was it? It's pose. Yes, here's Alice's. He said pose versus. Did you guys see that comment?
No, I didn't. Pose versus pose, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So pose versus take a pose.
Do we know what that means? I don't.
I don't, actually. If you'd like to elaborate on that, that would be
regional, because I know what take a pose is, but I didn't know the first part.
I just keep thinking Vogue.
Bilingualism.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I still don't understand.
Sorry.
I don't know.
I think that's really interesting, when you get outside of the little towns that you live in, or maybe even the big towns that you live in, is of course people have different experiences and different ways of saying things. And I frequently find myself like, what? And just learn new things from others. Ellie, always put the HTTP in front of it because depending on the platform.
Right. If people just put mjmccallywrites.com, it'll go to it. Why do I have to put the HTTP? That's too much. And put your website on there too, Amanda.
Okay.
Thanks, Alice. Mm-hmm. Hammer strand, thank you. I'm sorry, my brain is just it's too early in the morning for me and I haven't had enough coffee, but I feel like what you said was probably really wise. So. And I just got a new website. If you check out my website, I would love it because I just launched a new website last night, and I'm so excited about it. If you use the desktop version, you could go right to my blog, which I think is so cool. So now all I have to do is give my website address, and you can see everything that I have, like all the books that I've been in, and I'm just so excited about it. And I actually became friends with the people that I hired. I can't wait to have them on live. And they were so affordable. I want to just their TC minds. I'm telling you, I want to give them some spotlight too, because they're so affordable and they were so easy to work with, because I was really dreading this because you have to give them so much information that I was really dreading it, but it was really easy. So yeah.
Yeah. Your website looks amazing. And
thank you.
Dream Queen. I don't know StreamYard. Could you put my website in?
Yes, I can.
I think I put it in the private chat, so it's not.
I got it.
The comments.
I just grabbed it.
It's just markertown.com, but I have teachinglandthebook.com as well. Supposed to. Oh, okay. You're talking. Okay.
Makes more
The
sense.
vernacular. So supposed to versus suppose, or I can't even say it because I say suppose. Suppose.
All right. Ooh, look at Alice. She's so fast.
We did it at the same time. We doubled up. Oh well.
Yeah.
So it's funny when we're actually talking about accents. Writing Markertown, I wrote it in anapestic tetrameter, and it's so,
But I do too.
so it's
And
it's
quadratic.
two unstressed and a stressed syllable 4 times, and depending on how you say where you put the stress on a word, it will throw your meter off. So, for example, like some people who are learning the English language or whatever, when they say, we say spatula, but they might say spatula, like when they're learning a language, which will throw the cadence off of a line. So I had to be very careful of my Southern accent when I was writing, because I'd add syllables where they weren't meant to be, and I'd take some away. So I had to have a meter expert come in and actually go through. Like, we went back and forth 5 times, I believe, in order to get the meter right, because my Southern drawl just did not do me any favors there.
I love that. And that's something that I also have learned from you, Amanda. Well, actually, Alice, I guess both of you do this. This is why the double A's, okay? Like if you aren't an expert in it, you are not afraid to reach out to the experts and grab them and make them a part of your team. I love that. That's so cool. I didn't know what a meter was, but you are so into what you're doing. You grab somebody that, I just think that's so cool.
Thank you.
Kudos to both of you, double A.
Well, if you're writing and you're writing a kid's book, I highly recommend hiring an editor, like a professional editor. My story has evolved. I thought it was good when I first wrote it, and then you get an editor, and you're like, man, what? Should I just quit? Like, wow, that's a lot. And I actually didn't think that. I was like, okay, so how am I going to navigate the sea of red? Actually, it's green, because it's when you're suggesting edits, it's green in Google Docs. So it's a sea of green, and just going through and finding out, like, number one, how not to sacrifice content for the sake of meter, and how not to change the meaning to make sure that there's continuity in meter. So it's just a big balancing act, and it's really hard trying to figure out how to tell the story in that meter. I had to say goodbye to some things that I didn't want to. And in terms of feedback, like, even when I started the book, I was told the story was great, but Amanda, you might not want to illustrate it yourself. Like, you might want to hire someone that's a better artist than you. And I was just like, ooh, that pained me. And initially, they were right. I kept thinking back to that Ira Glass video. My art then wasn't where it needed to be. So over the last year, especially summer, I picked up Procreate and an Apple Pencil, and I've been drawing my butt off, and I have drastically improved just to the sheer amount of volume of drawing that I've done. So don't take, when people tell you you can't do it, you can if you put in the work.
Yep. I mean, we all know that's true, but I'll just tell the story from my own kids. My daughter, she brought home some drawing that she did, and she's little, and you're like, oh yeah, that's cute, and she tells me she wants to be an artist, and I'm thinking, I don't think this is your life calling, girl. But she kept at it. Now people are asking her if she can illustrate their books and to do art for her. She has a nice big giant Wacom tablet that I had invested in her, because she, for over the years, just put so much time into it. She is good at it, and she is an artist. And as we were saying before, creativity is not something you're born with. Artistry is not something you're born with. Being a math person is not something you're born with. It's anything. You are a math person. You are an artist, and it's just what you want to invest your time in. And I always say, it's like, I just can't be good at everything. So I just pick what I do want to be good at, and then I'm going to outsource and appreciate those who have put all of their time into the others. And I said, my girls, so let me just mention my middle daughter. She showed up for hip hop dance after school in like 3rd grade. They had an after school thing, and the dance teacher told me, I don't know about this white girl. And You know what though? She just kept at it and she kept at it, and then she just all of a sudden there she is hitting all the beats, and she gets put in the front. I guess this is like a thing. Like if you're really good, she gets a lot of the front positions, and she does she now does homeschooling. She did homeschooling for a bit so that she could do more of the hip hop dance and intern with the dance teacher. But that came because she put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, great stories. Hammer Strand, do you collaborate on projects?
All the time.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
I collaborate with both of you all the time.
Absolutely.
Yes. Melody is one of my top collaborators. I don't think I could live without Melody.
I'm sure you could.
I'm pretty sure I would just quit and give up if I didn't have Melody.
I sincerely doubt that, but thank you. I love that you guys are so complimentary. Thank you. For my tired brain, it really makes me feel so good. Suzuki says that everyone is born with inner talent.
I don't know what that means.
We all are born with the potential.
I agree.
Yes. We end up with a talent of what we've fed, I think. So I
think a lot of us have some inner talent that others like. I feel like I've always had a sensitive or empathetic mindset, even when I was a little kid and I couldn't understand it. Like, I don't know how I developed that. It just is a part of me. It always has been a part of me. And I've always really loved like song lyrics. Like when I was younger, and I would get a cassette tape because that was my generation. I would I would pull that thing out of the lyrics, and I would read all the lyrics, and I loved poetry, and I just so I feel like I was born, and I honestly don't think that everybody has a real empathetic mindset, and I think that's why we live in the world we do. But Hammer Strand says, who has the final say? And I think we all, like, if it's our project, we have the final say, right?
It also depends on what project it is. If it's a book you're working on, it really depends on who you published with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Dave Burgess. I had the choice of going with ISTE to publish my book Teaching Land or Dave. Mm-hmm. And I went with Dave because in the end I wanted it to be my book and I didn't want to be censored. And Dave promised me that at the end I'd have final say of what went into print.
True to that. And I definitely have a biased opinion on that since all of my books are published with Dave. So
yeah. And I got to give a shout out to Dr. Sarah Thomas with EduMatch Publishing, because she's the very same. When I got very critical feedback from Amanda, I went to her, and I just because you're here, that's why I get to say it. Bust your balls a little bit, your imaginary ones. And so, but she said the thing was, what do you think about it? She put it back on me. What do you think? And she let me have the final say also. So kudos to amazing publishers like DBC and EduMatch that really allow us to have our own voice.
I agree. And kudos to you for asking for all that feedback. And yeah, I mean, it takes a lot to ask and to take that with grace. And then also, even being like friends with everything, I did not sugarcoat anything that I said. So being able to be brutally honest, because if I'm going to sugarcoat it and I'm going to not really tell you what I think, you're not going to grow as a person, as a writer.
Right.
So
if you had given me that feedback a few months earlier, I could have done something with it. But
sorry,
it's also timing. You know what I mean?
If you're going to reach out, make it a priority.
Things about it after it's already in print. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah. But it was good. It's good. And you're doing great. I want to congratulate you, Amanda. You put your mug up there again. This woman, she teaches like full-time teaching. She's an artist. She is an author, illustrator. Look at her. And she just started her own. No, keep it up there. Keep it up there. She just started her own publishing company, Meta Inc. Publishing. I'm so excited for you. That is amazing. I feel like you're brilliant. Alice is brilliant too. And you have a mug, but I need a mug of yours, Alice. I need both of your mugs.
Alice mugs.
Going in the mail, Mel, get a mug.
Yes. It's crazy. You guys are so awesome. And I love that. And so it's not a magical thing. I want that mug. Yes. I want that mug.
I didn't get to see it. Mugs. And I'm like, oh, this will be so fun. I have Alice mugs, but then things get broken in the mail. I'm like, how the heck do I send these out? So
I got this mug in the mail.
I want to put them in checked luggage. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've traveled successfully with mugs to the last 5 conferences, back when travel was a thing. Bubble wrap, and then wrap them in your clothes. I use my clothes as like wrapping.
Right. And you probably have to use a lot of clothes because you're real skinny. Asking for help or feedback is actually a precious gift to give away. Yes, I agree, Hammerstrand. I feel like I'm so glad it is. Feedback and we need to be able to help our kids understand that at the very young age. I feel like when we were growing up, all 3 of us, and even though we're a little bit different in ages, I feel like the feedback that we got as kids made us either think we were good at something or bad at something. I don't feel like our teachers knew how to give us constructive feedback. And so we dreaded writing, because I remember getting some pretty ugly feedback in high school. And I felt like, even though I loved writing, I felt like I wasn't a good writer. And so for a while I stopped writing.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's very sad.
But I don't think it's not unusual. I really do think.
I my whole life thought I was bad at math. So I 100% agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I teach math. I have a degree in math. I have a book I've written about math.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
So it created our generation. Like, we are really thinking hard about the feedback we give our kids, as a mom and as a teacher. I think about that, I hate red ink. I hate red ink with passion. I felt like when I first began teaching that, like, I had to use a red pen because that's what everybody was doing. But I hated it. And I just couldn't. I stopped using a red pen very early on when I realized I have a lot more freedom. Like, you don't always have to go by tradition, right? And it's just ugly.
Being in the digital age, and I teach language arts and literature, and we've done a lot of writing projects this year. One was a Poe confessional. They had to write a Gothic literature story, and one of the things that I did is I met with them and I ran my editing like how I would expect someone to do my book. And I went in and I met with each student and I made comments of suggestions for improvement. I actually reworded things for them. And then when I met with them, I explained them why. Here's the reason why this is a better written paragraph than that. And being able to do that for kids, I've seen like I have this one student. She's a brilliant writer. I'm pretty certain she's going to be published. And she sat down with me. She's like, "Thank you, Miss Fox. You're the first teacher that hasn't said, 'Oh, you write beautifully.' You actually gave me feedback."
Yes.
And she's like, it's just. I feel like students who are great writers and they're at the top of their class, their teachers just go and they check off. They're like, all right, this is obviously an A. And they don't give the time to cultivate.
I feel like that was true for me in high school. I got really annoyed because my English teacher would just give me an A and I just stopped proofing it. I would just type up whatever and just print it. I wouldn't ask anybody to look at it. And I was going to get my A. And I felt like I was really bitter about it. I didn't grow. I didn't learn anything. I'm just playing the game of points. I don't know. And so one of my things that I do in my math class is I won't give credit. I just won't. Like, whatever you submit, I'm not going to give you full credit and say, good job. And this is on certain types of assignments, obviously not on everything. So I asked them a question. So my question this week was, why can there only be one minor arc on a circle? Because I'm teaching geometry. And they answer in the private comments. And then whatever they respond with, I try to help them to communicate more clearly mathematically. And even if you're really good at it, you can still always get better. My favorite quote from my husband is, even J.K. Rowling has an editor. It doesn't matter how awesome you are, you could always be awesomer. So I really just want my students to feel like my role here is not to check stuff off, but to help them to get better. So it's a retraining of those kinds of assignments that I'm going to return it. No. Mm-hmm. I'm going to return it so that you will resubmit it. Like, that's how this works. And it's tough to get them into this mindset. So they used to like turn in, get my points, move on to the next thing. It's like, no, we're not going to move on. We're going to help you get better.
Right. I love that, because that's really what life, like when we're in the real world working and using our talents to get us, further in our career. Like, that's what you have to do. You have to be able to do that. Tyson says, my goal for feedback is to inspire. I love that, Tyson. You inspire me. And yes, definitely they need to know why. We all do.
Yeah.
And I love that, Alice. No, we are not going to move on. We are going to help you get better. Yes.
So I actually don't grade. I don't give final grades on papers.
Yes.
Because they're
Amanda, we need to have a whole you and I
Y'all
talk.
are so much alike. It's crazy.
It's that iterative process, and you're never done. And I'm like, my book is in print, and I can still find things that I can make it better.
Yeah.
And I told him, I'm not going to give you a grade. We're gonna do check-ins, and I'm going to grade the check-ins, and I'm going to put that we've had this feedback session, or that you did the lead work. Here's your research. We've done these activities, and we've skill built. But I'm not going to grade this final project because it's not done. We're going to keep working on it until the end of the year through writers' workshops. And my goal is all the projects that we've done by the end of the year, they'll pick one or two that they really want to hone in on and try to make as close to perfect, which there's no such thing, as they can.
Right. I love that. I'm not doing grades this year because I'm homeschooling, and I get to put all that in practice. But we do have to submit grades. Last week we had to submit grades to our contact teacher because I go through an actual school. I just do it at home. But I mean, I do all the curriculum. I do all the grading. But my kids never see letter grades. My two oldest that were in school, like before we moved to Alaska, they still have that mindset of, they still get so frustrated because in their minds, they think they're going to get in trouble. They think they're going to get a grade. And I'm telling them all the time, like, it's okay if you mess up, because it's hard sometimes to pull them into math or into writing because they feel like I'm going to like slap something. It's after 2 years of this, they're still struggling. Now, my younger kids, they don't even care. One of them's in second grade. The other one's in kindergarten. They don't worry about that at all because they're not used to getting letter grades. So we're just constantly doing, we're just growing. And that's what they think school is about. And and when we did have to submit grades though, I talked to my oldest too. And I said, let's talk about what you think that your percent would be. And they were very hard on themselves. And I thought, I had to come up and say, well, actually, let's look at this, this, and this. You're not a D student. You're not but that's how negative they feel about like the work they do because they're used to, letter grades. Yes, it does, Tyson.
They do.
We need so much reform around grading
Yes.
practices, and it just drives me nuts. Power School, Google Classroom, gradebook is the worst. I'm just going to say that right now. It is the worst gradebook on the market. Why are we using digital tools to use practices from 1800? It is time to look at the research that has happened this year, last year, the last 10 years, the last 50 years, the last 100 years, to update how we are assessing students. There's my soapbox that I
love that. And I love that you let them pick, Amanda, at the ones that represent them the most. That is, yes, I love that.
Yeah. And then I used to be a film teacher in Savannah. And when I taught film, we did ipsative assessment. So when they came in, everybody made an about me video. And it's how I got to learn a little bit about my students. And then that was where we started. I'm like, okay, so this is what you know about film. Who cares if Johnny on the Spot has a film maker as a father, because we lived in Savannah, Georgia, and SCAD was right there. Who cares and you've been raised in that culture? You can still be amazing. We can still grow. So I knew what I did for Johnny on the Spot was going to be different. It was going to be more honed in on a different skill set than for my entry student. And grades have a bad rap. Well, they deserve the bad rap for making us competitive within the same class or the same grade level or the same age bracket. Whereas I think if we focus on where we're at and where we can go, it creates more of a culture of success.
Yes.
Failure is not fatal, and it's not.
Oh my God, you're saying so good. Are you getting this, Alice? Failure is not fatal. A culture of success. Like, damn, we're dropping bombs right now.
But that's why I don't think grades should be final. And I buck against the cultures where they can't redo work for full credit, which I know my school doesn't allow that. But if they're going to do it and the end goal is for them to walk away with that knowledge, why wouldn't we give them credit for learning it?
Yes.
We are in the business of assessing what kids have learned, not recording failure. This whole mindset has to change. I'm not in the business of recording failure.
Agreed. I love that. And I know this is going to be a little bit, okay, are you ready for this? Listen, I even think that grade levels could be obsolete.
They
I
should
feel
be.
like, okay, thank you. I just feel like, why do we keep everybody at one standard when some kids could go this way and some kids could go this way? I just think it's ridiculous.
Our grade books should be, here's all the standards and skills that you know, and it's a tracking of what's your goals, what are we getting to next, and how much growth you've made. And the thing that drives me nuts, I teach algebra, or I have this year. I'm teaching geometry, and I get kids in there who failed last year. Well, most likely they failed because they didn't do their homework, not because they know nothing. And yet I start them off at chapter 1, section 1, x plus x is 2x. Well, every dang one of them already knows that. So why are they sitting through this lesson again?
Mm-hmm.
It's just an archaic model. It's just so like
when you said that took me right back to my first day in algebra. Seriously, that is so funny. Which just goes to show that was over 20 years ago. So that things just don't change, not fast enough. But I'm sure you're an amazing teacher, by the way. I would love to be in both of your classes. You're so creative and brilliant. So yeah.
Well, I'll just tell you what we did this week. What we did yesterday was such a good day. I was very excited. We have a makerspace at my school, and so we're making a skate park of death.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Allow me to read the engage question, the engage statement from my geometry book. So this is how I'm supposed to engage students, is by asking them, what are the key theorems about tangents to a circle?
That's so engaging.
Okay, and so now this is not the same learning objective, but my learning objective is, how do we create a skate park of death and will you get sued? So then I got on my phone and I just typed in random number generator. You got to try this. It's actually very cool. So I type in random number generator and a Google thing comes up, little widget comes up on there. And I just okay, this is your height. Your height is 10 centimeters and your width is 4 centimeters. So you got to build me a skate park ramp. You got to start with the base and the height, a skate park ramp that is 10 by 4. And, how steep is this? And so then they're really into making it. And I just go over and I'm like, okay, so are we going to get sued? Is someone going to be, is this reasonable? Would you put this ramp in your skate park? And they're taking it so seriously. They're like, no, this is no good. You just fall right off. And okay, well, what happened? Why is that? Because this one's shorter.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh. It was the best. It was one of my best teaching moments all year for sure. I'm just in a really good mood. I just wanted to share that.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Awesome.
Clap for you. That's amazing. I love it. We're going to need to bring out some of their projects if you're continuing with this, and let them share if they want to, Yeah. That's so cool. And, and I just want to put this in here with StreamYard. This is a great way to have your students share with their parents, with the school community. I'm not saying to share with the whole world, just, whatever is safe for them. But I think it's a great way. I loved when my teachers, and I would do this when I was in the public school classroom, sharing out stuff all the time. And I think that's a great way on Twitter, is just saying, look what these kids did. This is what, you just inspired me, Alice. That is so cool. Yes. Gosh, I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm reading what Mr. C says. The difference between doctor's appointment and autopsy, no one changes their behavior from info from their autopsy.
That's true. It's too late.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Amanda.
Yeah, so a doctor's appointment, they diagnose. The autopsy, they diagnose as well, but no one changes the behavior once.
Right.
Yeah. Like it. So in my class, we're reading about we're studying Victorian authors. And instead of just doing a research paper or a biographical essay, they have to come in character to the social distance tea party. And we just read The Importance of Being Earnest. So they're creating a dinner plate, and they have to put different items from a tea party on the dinner plate and pull in supporting quotes from the text of why Lady Bracknell is a cucumber sandwich versus a bread and butter. And as they come in and they dress up for the tea party, we've got different characters that have come from different times. So there's some time travel involved. I just bought a bunch of props. Oh my gosh. So I did all of my Zoom calls with my kids yesterday with a mustache and a top hat. So we're getting like in the right mindset of Victorian authors with the mustaches and the top hats, and I got fans for the girls. So yes, so totally creating that Victorian experience. They're creating Victorian Valentine's Day cards using epigrams from Wild and calling cards to show who's in their social circle. So they're really getting entrenched in their relationship to Victorian times and just the kind of this social politics of the late 1800s. And they yesterday, you should have seen him. He's like, I was assigning authors, and I had kids fighting over Oscar Wilde.
Wow!
It was just so awesome that they're like, just
they're like bark.
All they get to do.
They're so excited. They're like dogs barking. I love that. He like barked at the right time.
She's like, Oscar Wilde.
It's so funny. You're teaching really high level learning. Like, I didn't learn any of that in middle school. I didn't learn that until high school. I remember like what you're doing is pretty out there.
So the lexiles of my students, like their capability to read is pretty high. And you can take any text and make it accessible. Like any text can be made accessible for any reader of any level. So there is a little bit of differentiation that I have to do, and a lot of sometimes summarizing for them to get it. But then there's the kids who we read and they're giggling. They're over there giggling, and I'm like, you got it.
They get it.
You got that joke.
That's how I knew when I was a young teacher and I told jokes that probably weren't the most appropriate. And I was just like, oh my God, some of them got it. Like, I'm in trouble. I would have to tell my boss, this is what I said today. True story, but I never got in trouble or anything. The kids like me. What can I say? But that's so funny. We are actually coming. We talked for an hour. This has been such a great time. Thank you everybody for joining in with us. And I'll give you a second, I don't want to just cut us off or anything. But I do like this, even though it's really early for me. Like, this is just being able to talk about stuff. And I feel like we just kind of decompressed a lot of it. Shoot, we just talked about a lot. This has been great. So before we go, I hope that you'll look at bit.ly/Markertown. That's Amanda's Kickstarter. She has an amazing book going on, Markertown. And if you want to be a part of that, she's got 13 days left. So time is of the essence. I hope you'll check that out. Yes. And there are rewards to being a part of this. That's the best thing. And also,
AR
there
posters.
We go. Love it. So check that out at bit.ly. I bet Alice will type it in really fast. She probably already did. I don't know. But before we go, ladies, I don't want to just cut us off. Are there any last things that you want to impart? No?
I don't think I'm picking up on her sound.
Yeah, Alice is mute. Alice, you're on mute.
That sounds right, because if I'm typing, my kids say that I type very loudly. Make things relatable and don't use round ice rinks. That's my rant about this stupid real world problems in my textbook.
What was your advice?
The real world problem in my textbook was about a round ice rink where someone crashes into the sides at a certain angle, and how many degrees do they need to get back to where they started, which would not be a real world example.
Because where is a round ice rink? I think
Where's a round ice rink, and who brings a protractor with them when they crash into the sides of the wall?
Not me.
No one. Stupid.
My advice is, as you're creating, don't self-reject. There's enough people out there who are going to reject you anyway.
Yes.
Be kind, and know that the more volumes of content that you make, the better you get. It's just up. So
it's okay to create a lot of crap.
It is, because you're going to be at the top of that pile one day. You're going to look down. You're going to be like, "Wow, I came a long way."
Yeah. I crapped a lot. Now I'm not crapping. Just I
like
crap
or something.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining us, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Y'all are amazing people. Alice and Amanda AA, from now on, that's what I'm going to call you. Thank you for sharing your creative process with us. I admire both of you so much, and the ability to see something and to actively go for it. And I just admire that you shared a lot of that with us today. Thank you, Tyson and Hammerstrand, Mr. C, and there was another person. Thank you for really actively engaging with us. That was so fun to see your comments. We appreciate you. And I guess we'll see you next week. We'll see you on Thursday for some tech talk. And next week, we have to keep this going. I will wake up early because this is amazing. This is my favorite talk. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.